Purpose of the guidelines. It is hoped that these guidelines will provide practical solutions to the challenges you are likely to encounter from the early stages of your assignment as an embedded advisor, EA, while also highlighting the opportunities that will present themselves to you. The approach outlined in this video aims to orient you in the institutional landscape within which you will be operating for 6 months or more.
Introduction to PDF2. Policy Development Facility Phase 2, PDF2, is a flexible, rapid response program funded by the UK's Department for International Development, DFID. DFID funds several programs in Nigeria that are designed to deliver a more coherent, focused, and ambitious approach to economic development. The primary objective of PDF2 is to provide targeted assistance to support Nigeria's champions of change to implement economic and social policies that lead to poverty reduction. The federal government of Nigeria is the main target of PDF2 support. However, PDF2 also supports civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, and relevant committees of the National Assembly. PDF2 is implemented by Development Alternatives Incorporated, DAI, with day-to-day business conducted by the Abuja Project Management Unit, APMU.
Role of an embedded advisor. The terms of reference you have been provided with serve as the basis for your work on behalf of PDF2. Refer to this document throughout your assignment. You will navigate often difficult terrain, negotiating multiple relationships between governmental and non-governmental stakeholders, with different levels of investment in the pro-poor policies and initiatives you'll be engaged in formulating and implementing. Rules of engagement. For support on technical matters, report to your principal or a designated representative within your assigned ministry, department, or agency, MDA. For contractual and administrative matters, you should report to PDF2. It is important that you bear in mind the political sensitivity of working within the Nigerian civil service while being funded by a development partner. Most consultants will be working in fluid and dynamic situations. Please note that PDF2 does not require EAs to share information that the federal government of Nigeria considers to be confidential. All potential conflicts of interest and instances or suspicions of fraud must be reported to PDF2 immediately. Details may be found in the induction guide. PDF2 abides by the rules and regulations outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding between DFID and the Government of Nigeria. Local laws are to be adhered to by the program, consultants, employees, and partners.
Guidelines. Know and be known. Have a good prior knowledge of the sector you will be engaged in. To know the internal process, the red tape, and who is responsible for moving things along is key to understanding how the MDA you are embedded in works. Identifying the person or persons responsible for specific stages in the decision-making process helps spot who to work with to ensure that the projects you will be involved in do not get held up. Since you will be working directly with the high-level champion of change and/or a major policy initiative, it is critical to your success to have an understanding of the political economy that influences your sector. A champion of change is likely to be a political appointee for a certain period of time, so it is possible that the imperative for the policies and programs they have pushed will wane when or if they move on. Therefore, you will have to make the best of the political will that your principal represents. It is vital that you develop a blueprint of ideas and share these with your champion of change before the work begins in order to enlist their support and commitments. It is important to be known, and there is a chance that the high-level champion of change may not have taken the opportunity to fully brief all the people you will be working with. A practical step to ensure your role is known is to communicate your terms of reference with key personnel within your department and beyond, as appropriate. This will help civil servants understand and accept your role and consider how to align their own roles accordingly. Ensure that you devote adequate time to establishing relationships with the various departments within the institution you are embedded in, taking care to understand how they work and do not work, and to explain your brief.
Know your champions and blockers. PDF2's champions of change are typically federal government of Nigeria ministers and senior officials in the President's and Vice President's offices who have requested EA support. You should do background research on your designated champion of change and take note of the working style once your assignment begins. A positive relationship is key to achieving positive results. As your champion of change is likely to be busy with many high-level initiatives and may also be constrained by political factors, you will have to enlist the help of resident champions. It may be essential to ensure the support of senior civil servants within departments, such as directors. Their cooperation will not only help you deliver the intended support or outputs, but also improve uptake and embedment among other civil servants as well as decision makers. That said, such resident champions need to be carefully identified and chosen for a specific purpose. Your success depends on identifying and choosing the right relationships and interventions. While you will certainly encounter individuals who are less than enthusiastic about what you are trying to achieve, it is also important to not assume that the bureaucracy is there to obstruct you. You have to identify the change agents and work with them. At this point, you should. Also consider how best to network with EAs in other MDAs whose performance will have an impact on your work. Engage your stakeholders. Public sector. You will have to develop and maintain effective relationships with relevant stakeholders in government, ranging from the technical teams within the MDAs to the legislature. It is critical to get buy-in of MDA staff at all levels and establish partnerships with them. Avoid stereotyping people. The pervading impression of a lazy public sector should be de-emphasized. Do not rub your privilege of working with development partners in their face or see them as inferior. You will be resisted and your work frustrated. Private sector and civil society. Engagement with different stakeholders at different points of the process is important. Involving the private sector and civil society right from the outset is the best way to ensure the success of your policy initiatives. Civil society represents the communities that are meant to benefit from successful implementation of such policies. It stands to reason that these sets of stakeholders will have critical insights into the nature of the problems faced and what policies would best address them. At the implementation stage, the private sector is often expected to take center stage. But if these actors have not been engaged with an earlier stage, it is quite possible that they will not respond in time to policy interventions. The competitive discipline of the private sector will help validate and temper government initiatives. Furthermore, without the participation of poor people, all poverty reduction policies are doomed to fail. Community consultations via advocacy and lobbying groups from civil society should be incorporated into the timeline of your activities to help communicate the details of programs and their benefits to poor people. Field visits are an important part of your remit, providing a 360 bird's eye view, and you should take the opportunity to travel and meet the people whom your policies will affect. Ask them questions. It will give you a valuable perspective on how they are likely to be received and implemented. Media. Your assignment may require you to be directly responsible for a communications strategy as part of a stakeholder engagement strategy, which will be crucially important in presenting your work to the public. If you are directly involved in providing narratives to the media, then you will have to carefully craft your press lines and cultivate relationships with media outlets so that facts are not misrepresented. Make sure that your press releases are not political.
Be proactive. Your initiative and positive attitude is key to securing the support of your partners. This may include undertaking deliverables that are not explicitly specified to your original terms of reference. EAs are also likely to be involved with large-scale policy initiatives and programs that will require the cooperation and approval of partners within and across MDAs and levels of governance. None of these procedures will be straightforward. It is inevitable that you will encounter obstacles and delays at various points. So, it is best to try and anticipate delays and plan for them by accounting for them in your schedules.
Be transparent, honest, and consistent. Be careful to give credit to your champion of change and the colleagues you have worked with. Equally, you should not shirk from taking responsibility for any problems that may arise in the course of your work, rather than seek to shift blame.
Track and share your knowledge. Knowledge management is among the most important components of your assignments because it forms the basis of evaluating your work. By keeping track of your activities at every stage of your assignments, you will not only be recording outcomes against targets that determine the success of individual projects, you will also be able to gauge your impacts on the different stages of policy formulation. EAs are required to provide monthly status updates that include progress towards achievement of terms of reference outputs and outcomes, risk and mitigation measures, and opportunities and lessons learned. You are also expected to contribute towards interim reports and annual reports and project completion reports where applicable. To facilitate this process, as well as keep track of your own progress, it will be useful to keep a diary of meetings attended and next steps with associated notes. PDF2 is also responsible for bringing together DFID programs and a range of donor partners and stakeholders periodically to share information and experiences. This is done through anecdote circles, semi-formal events, interim interviews, and exit interviews.
Anecdote circles. Anecdote circles offer you the chance to share your perspective with 5 to 7 EAs working in similar areas at least once every 6 months under the moderation of the PDF2 Knowledge Management Advisor, KMA. They are valuable because they focus on the experience of the EAs and peer learning that concludes with agreed actions to help you address any difficulties you may be facing. Semi-formal events. Once a year, all EAs come together in a semi-formal event to share experiences and successes. This event is more of a networking forum that has been expanded to include DFID advisors and DFID programs within the growth and governance portfolios. It will be useful for you to maintain close contact with other EAs. Interim interviews and exit interviews. Interviews with the KMA will seek to capture tacit knowledge from EAs. Your input into the progress of your assignment, including your conclusions and achievements, challenges and sustainability, will be with your consent, recorded, transcribed, and used to inform PDF2 knowledge products and management support to future projects. Do keep in mind that there is no such thing as a complete success, as things could always have gone better. Similarly, there is no such thing as an absolute failure, as lessons can always be learned. Embedding your work. The benefits of institutionalization within MDAs cannot be overemphasized. EAs are temporary, and even the champions of change are political appointees, liable to be transferred following a change in administration. Securing buy-in from staff within and across departments is crucial. Their ownership of the sustainable structures you have helped to set up improves the chances of your work continuing once you have moved on. In planning your work and moving forward, then you should take care to build on and enhance existing structures rather than starting from scratch or duplicating efforts. You will have a better chance of enlisting the help of staff if you begin by working with structures they are already familiar with. Procedural documents and guides on best practices can be very useful reference points. Build a knowledge registry where all these documents can be easily accessed by relevant staff. Keep in mind that these processes should be flexible and adaptable for future use. A final word. Your technical skills and your soft skills will be needed to do your job. Your time as an EA is a journey, not only for you, but for the stakeholders you will need to carry along with you.